Greater Lagos. Ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó àjùmọ̀ṣe ni.
Before the Lagos state government reformed its transport system, public transportation system in Lagos for the longest time was unregulated and dysfunctional. It was mostly saturated with private operators that made use of poor quality, small-sized vehicles. And that was not sufficient enough for the growing population of the city. Neither was it befitting for the mega city dreams Lagos was heading out to be. Welcome to today's episode of Greater Lagos. I am Lucy Lugbe, your host for the show. Recognizing the need for structure in this sector, the Lagos state government established studies to identify the appropriate solutions to these problems. Solutions that will provide better forms of modern transportation, cut down travel time, and ease the lives of the average Lagosian. These needs led to the establishment of the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Lamata, in 2002. The agency is saddled with the responsibility to create intermodal transport system, one that would integrate the available resources of road, water, and rail seamlessly. On this week's episode, we will be having a chat with the Managing Director of the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Mrs. Abimbola Akinjo, on the state government's strategic transport master plan that was developed by Lamata, which aims ultimately to birth a world-class transportation network that will support the state's profile as the economic capital of Nigeria and Africa. Stay with us.
Greater Lagos. Greater Lagos.
The Managing Director, Engineer Abimbola Akinjo, Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Lamata. It's a pleasure to have you on the program, Greater Lagos.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Good day.
How can Lagos make sense of the multimodal transport system in Lagos that fully integrates road, rail, and water?
So, for the average person in Lagos who's traveling, what the state of Lagos is trying to do is to utilize all available modes of transportation. That means the road, the rail, and waterways, like you say. So what the average Lagosian needs to understand is the connectivity that exists between all three of them. So that means if I come out of my house, I can plan my journey, hopefully utilizing one, two, or three of the modes that are available, and I need to understand the connectivity that exists between them. So if I say I'm going on a rail journey, or I'm going from Lagos to, I don't know, Lawansing or something, and I want to take the train, and I say I get off at Yaba, and I know that there's a bus terminal at Yaba, I can go there to get a bus that will take me all the way to Sele, because those are the sorts of things that this intermodal transportation is talking about. The ability to plan your journey end to end, utilizing one, two, or all of the modes that are available, because the state will ensure that there is connectivity between those modes that will allow you to be able to complete your journey. So the only thing the Lagosian has to understand is the connectivity that exists, and where those connectivity exists, and how you can use that connectivity to complete your journey. So I get to Falomo on a boat. I know that there will be a first and last mile bus outside of Falomo station that will take me further into a hotel, for instance, and those sorts of things, or further down our Law Road. So the understanding of the connectivity that exists is what the people of Lagos need to begin to come to grasp with.
So how available are these transport systems?
So for now, we are trying and we are implementing various modes. So we have launched the first and last mile, which is the very last end of that should be the last end of your journey. And what we have done every time is to ensure connectivity. So the first and last mile, there are buses in literally all 7 zones of Lagos now. There are jetties that are springing up in Lagos all over, and there are lots of water routes that are being opened up. There are standard routes. There are about between 70 and 80 standard routes, major high-capacity buses that are regulated, that exist and run within Lagos. There are the 3 major BRT lanes that exist and are running within Lagos. Beyond that, obviously, are the rail lines that are coming. So from a perspective of development, Lagos is continuing to grow its transportation reach such that we are capturing the whole of the city, so to speak.
Well, let's talk about the BRT buses now. How effective is the BRT buses in solving transportation issues in Lagos?
So the BRT buses are probably the highest of the hierarchies of bus systems because they travel on their dedicated routes, and when those dedicated routes are not encumbered, they will move people and move them quickly. The position of Lagos is that the BRT buses need to be increased, and we're increasing them on a regular basis. This year alone, the government injected about 550 buses to the point now, and that was earlier in the year, we injected another 100 in the past 3 months. So the vision is to continuously increase the number of buses. As we are now, we're speaking to private sector to bring in buses because they have now seen how the BRT systems work, and there are people who are talking to us, private sector, to bring in rolling stock and to deploy them on our buses. And the vision has to be that the state will continue to build these BRT lanes that will ensure that we will be able to continue to move our people. So out of the 13 that exist within this master plan, we have done 3 of them, and we will continue to build.
So there are no doubts that there are a lot of BRT buses on the road, but we are yet to see some of those buses fully operational in some parts of Lagos, like the Oshodi Solo, Mile 2 Ojo, and its environs. Why is this so?
So if you look at Mile 2, you said Mile 2 Ojo. Right now, we have started operations that will take you all the way to Alakija, beyond Mile 2, but we have not reached Ojo. So for us, we are following the development of the infrastructure. Right now, we have the ability to turn at Alakija, and that's where we have reached. You also mentioned Sele and all those places. Now, one of the projects that Lamata is currently working on is the development of what we call the quality bus corridors. Those are bus corridors that are probably the next hierarchy to the BRT lanes. They will feed the BRT lanes. And when those come, there are 8 major corridors, and Sele is one of them. Ojuelegba to Idiaraba is one of them. We have about 8 of them. Now, the position is, as a state, we continuously respond to the needs of the people, and that's what we're doing. And we continuously implement the Strategic Transport Master Plan, which has taken cognizance of what Lagos needs as a city, and that's what we're implementing. So we will continue to roll out buses in those areas, and we will continue, like I said, to work with the private sector to ensure that we have a robust public transport system.
Okay, now still on BRT buses, the e-ticket system, why is there a need for it? Tell us more about it.
So the position of the e-ticketing is to ensure there's so many things that does for you. It ensures the revenue protection for those who are running the operations. So we're not talking about cash changing hands and all sorts of strange things happening to that cash. You're talking about tapping in and tapping out, and all those sums of money, at the end of the day, each of the operators will be settled and their funds will be sent to them. This has been very good for the operators because they've had very reduced revenue leakages. It's also good for the passenger. You can plan your transport spend. You know how much you spend on a daily basis. You can easily put that on a weekly or on a monthly on your card with the vision that I have already paid for my transport, and all you do is go and tap. It's also good for the passenger in the sense that there is ease of boarding. You are not quarreling with a conductor that, oh, where's my change? Or you are constantly ensuring that you have the right cash. You are able to go, tap, and enter the bus. So there's ease of boarding. There's planning for the person who's boarding. There's also revenue protection for those who are running the buses, but there's also planning for Lamata. Everybody that taps, I suddenly am able to tell how many people come on this particular route, and I am able to respond. Lamata will be able to respond to ensure that buses are adequate in those areas. Or in some areas, we know that people do this journey from 5 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock, and then after that, there's a huge reduction. I can tell what the reduction in numbers are, and we can respond to that. So from a planning perspective, it's a fantastic tool.
So let's come to the rail lines, the blue and red line in particular. What is the speed of work and the expected date of commissioning?
So I guess you mean, where are we in terms of work?
Yes.
So we are looking quite good. As far as we're concerned, we will be able to implement all of our infrastructure by the end of this year. And we have always promised the people that infrastructure will be completed by December, and we will be able to start operations first quarter of 2023. That promise is still valid, and that's what we're working toward. So the vision is that we will be able to, in 2023, before the end of the first quarter, we will be running passenger operations on the blue and on the red lines.
I also understand that there are other rail lines apart from the blue and red, which like green, orange. You want to tell us something about that?
Okay, so you're right. We have 6 metro lines and 1 monorail. So we've done the red and the blue, and we know where those are going. So we also have the green, which is coming all the way from Lekki Free Trade Zone area to Marina. We have the purple, which is going from Redeem to Ojo to Lasso. We have the purple line, that's what we've just spoken about. We've spoken the red. There's a green, the orange line. The orange line goes from Agbowa to Ikeja, from Ikorodu to Ikeja. And then there's the yellow line, which goes from Otta to National Theatre. And then we have what I call it's a monorail. It's like I see it as a circle line. It takes you from Marina, it goes all the way around toward Victoria Land, and then comes towards Lekki, Ikoyi, and back to Marina. So what that does is that it's able to take the central business districts of Lagos, and people can move around those areas, and the residential areas and the business areas of Lagos. And so when you think about connectivity, there's a lot of connectivity within those rail lines that I've described, and that allows you to make journeys from the east to the west, from the north to the south, and within the center of Lagos.
Now, recently there was a warning to Lagosians about the blue rail line. What is this warning about?
So we said in the update that we put out that the blue line will be powered by electric means, and it would be powered via the third rail, meaning that the source of the electricity will be along the rail. And that means that under no circumstance must we cross the blue line rail. So the alignment must not be crossed, because the tracks will be electrified. And whilst we put that information out, what we will be continuing to do, and which we will start toward the end of this month, will be extensive advocacy to explain how the rails will work, how we can interact with it in a safe manner. The position is, if you must cross those rails, please use the overhead bridges, because that's the only way you can safely cross the rail lines. And that is why Lagos State has fenced the whole of that alignment, and we have asked people to keep that fencing and ensure that they don't cross it. The fencing is there. We will put signage. Everything will be available to tell you that it is dangerous to cross the tracks. And also we have provided other means of crossing the tracks. And so from the perspective of the world, we are now in a position where we're talking clean energy. We will run the blue line on electric power.
Greater Lagos.
Glad to still have you with us. Still to come on Greater Lagos, Mega Citizens, and Eco Daily is next. We'll be right back.
What I like about train is it's more easier to go to wherever you want to go, because it's more faster, no go slow, nothing. You're just there wherever you want to be. Within the last 30 minutes, you are there. And boat is more faster and more faster because it moves on water. And water, within 10 to 20 minutes, you're wherever you want to be.
BRT, I've always loved BRT whenever I'm going to places like Ikodu or any other place, because it's fast. When I say fast, it's not always caught up in the hold up, because the BRT lane is different. And then there's also space when you're sitting. You are free, there's air condition, and there's good service. So you don't have to be squeezing yourself with other passengers. And secondly, using the new BRT card, just tap in and tap out when your money is there. You don't have to start counting money or withdrawing to be paying and all those things. So I think I like BRT service compared to normal commuter bus in Lagos.
Did you know, in the wake of the pandemic, the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Lamata, adopted a new contactless digital payment solution for the transportation sector in Lagos State? Before the introduction of this new ticketing system, commuters went through the exhausting experience of haggling fare prices and cash balance with the bus operators. And there was also the issue of money leak in the previous cash payment system. However, the current cowrie card technology has brought ease and comfort to both commuters and operators manning the system. Another beauty of the cowrie card system is that it can be used across all the various modes of transport the Lagos State government is investing in, be it in the BRT buses, ferries, trains, car parks, and any other transport-related transactions. Here is how you can effectively own and utilize your own cowrie card. To own one, all you have to do is purchase a cowrie card from any of the major BRT terminals in Ikeja, TBS, or Ikorodu. It is quite affordable. You top up your card by either using the self-service on the cowrie app or from the service agent at the terminal. You can start using your card within minutes. It is important to also note that there are two ways you can pay for your trip with a cowrie card. The first method is the tap in and tap out feature. With this method, you tap in your loaded card on the scanner as you board the bus and tap out before alighting at your destination. The second payment method involves the cowrie app. With this method, you click Pay with QR code on your dashboard on the app. When boarding, you then scan the QR code pasted on the bus to tap in. When alighting, you scan the generated ticket on your phone. This second method makes it easier for the commuters who have forgotten to carry along their card to still be able to board without any problem. The cowrie card app is available on Android and iOS stores. Navigating through the hustle and bustle of Lagos just got easier. That's all for Eco Daily. See you next time.
Greater Lagos.
So I was going to ask that, is there a particular reason the tracks is being electrified?
Yes, because the world is going green. We're all talking about emissions in Lagos. When you look at everywhere, there's diesel generators spitting out CO2, greenhouse emission gases, carbon emissions. Those things are bad for our health. And as a responsible government, you must begin to look beyond your now, and that is why we've done it. And we have ensured that the electricity will be available. There are 3 sources of power for the blue line, and it will not stop 1 minute.
Thank you. So update us on the recent train delivery by the Lagos State government.
Okay, so I guess you must be talking about the red line trains. Those are the ones that have turned up. From what we said to you, we will be starting passenger operations in the first quarter of the year. So these are the trains that Mr. Governor went to Milwaukee to go and procure. They have now come to Lagos, and they are going to be coupled and made ready for operations. So for us, it is following the plan, and the plan is to be operation ready by 2023. So those trains have come into the state, and we are getting them ready for operations.
Okay. Please please explain the technicalities involved in these train services?
Okay. So I guess the position has to be that we must, as a people, understand how to board our trains, how to pay for them, and what are the peculiarities of our trains. So the red line, for instance, will still be diesel run because we're sharing tracks with the NRC trains or the NRC tracks. That's what we will be using for now. And that means for us, everybody that wants to board the train must have a carry card. At every train station, there will be an automatic fare collection system. So we will have fare gates. You will tap on those gates, the gates will open, you will walk in. So when you come into the station, you will walk to the paid up area. So there will be places where you can buy your tickets, there will be places where you can do some sort of browsing, shopping, commercial areas. But you must load your card and you go up to the area where you can tap and enter into the paid up area. And then you will get onto the platforms and the trains will come and the trains will open and you will get onto them. So that's the red line. The red line would be diesel run. The majority of the trains that we have now, they're 10 coaches. And so all of those coaches will be available for you to enter any of them. And they will be timetabled. So there will be times that the trains are expected and they will turn up at those times. So those timetables will be made available to the people. So you will know when to. So this is beginning to work in the direction that I can plan my journey. I know that when I get to Yaba station, I expect a train to be there at 10:20. So I need to make sure that I'm on the platform at 10:20 because that's when the trains will be there. The same thing will work for the blue lines. On the blue line, we said they're electrified trains, so people have to be careful. At the station, there is the same system where you will use your card, you will load it, you will get to the gate, you will tap, and you will go into the onto the platforms. And when you get on the platforms, when the trains turn up, you will board the trains. So the blue line trains are 4-car trains. They're longer. Each of the cars are longer than the cars on the red line. But the point is, they also will be timetabled. So we will say there'll be a train here at 8 a.m. in the morning, and the train will be there at 8 a.m. and you will turn up and you will board. And there will be times, maybe we're running 2 trains an hour, 3 trains an hour. That's what we will say. So the timetable will be visible and you will know when to turn up for the trains. And so from that perspective, that's where your connectivity then comes into play. There will be buses that will understand the timetabling of the trains, and so therefore they will be available when the trains turn up because they will be able to deliver you to the station and take you away from the station. So the timetabling will also be integrated. So there will be timetabling for the buses that will bring you to the stations, and you know that when you come off your train, within a few minutes, you will be able to get on a bus. So that's the connectivity we're talking about.
Thank you. Okay, for the personnel that will be handling some of these trains, are there some sort of training that will be given to them? What are your plans for them?
Okay, so yes, and those are one of the things that we will be putting out there. So to start, we're going to have experts come and drive. But more importantly, we will train our people and they will train other people. So these experts will train our own people. So they will train trainers, and then we will begin to train more train drivers. So the position is that we will start off with experts and they will train people, and then they will be able to drive our trains. And that is the same thing that will happen on both the red and the blue. And the same way we have to train station staff, we have to train all those that will have to work with our comm system. So the whole position of this is that there will be a whole lot of people that will be employed. Very easily on the blue line, we will have over 5,000 people will be employed just from the perspective of both direct and indirect job vacancies. And that will be the same on the red line. So there will be a lot of available work for our people. And like you say, training. So we're going to be developing skills because we are now going to be a state that will have various other rail lines, and those rail lines will need personnel, and we will begin to train them and make them competent to do the work that will be required.
Thank you very much, Engineer Abimbola Akiado, the Managing Director, Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, for spending quality time with us on the program Greater Lagos.
Thank you very much for having me.
Greater Lagos.
And with that, we have come to the end of today's episode of Greater Lagos. Now we know the tremendous work ongoing to deliver the railway system in Lagos on time and more effectively. We also spoke on how Lagosians can plan commute around the city with ease, making use of 1, 2, or 3 of the modes of transportation the state government is putting in place. I remain Lucy Lube. Join us same time next week on another episode of Greater Lagos. Bye for now.
Greater Lagos. Ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó àjùmọ̀ṣe ni.